In this video, we will explore the challenges of English language learning at Colegio Marina de Chile, a public school located in Concepción, within the broader context of Chile's national language policies and the forces of globalization. To begin with, the Chilean Ministry of Education has made English a compulsory subject in primary and secondary education. The goal is to improve global competitiveness and give students better academic and employment opportunities. However, in reality, especially in public schools, there is a clear disconnect between these policies and what happens in the classroom. At Colegio Marina de Chile, the main issue is the low level of English proficiency and the lack of students' motivation. For example, most students from 9th to 11th grade are at AI or A2 levels. Moreover, classroom observation reveals that Spanish is used most of the time, and many students are distracted using phones, eating, or simply not participating. Even though teachers have access to digital tools like PowerPoint and ChatGPT, these are not being used in a way that truly enhances learning. Furthermore, the school faces several systematic barriers. Since it doesn't have an extended school day, there is a limited time for English instruction on reinforcement activities. In addition, the curriculum is rigid, focusing mostly on grammar and vocabulary, rather than developing real-life communication skills. Large and mixed-level classes make it even harder for teachers to adapt their methods to students' needs. As a consequence, students do not find English relevant to their lives or future goals, which reinforces a cycle of disinterest and poor performance. At the same time, teachers deal with institutional limitations, such as lack of training in modern methods, minimal planning time, and oversized classrooms. In conclusion, while national policies aim to prepare students for a globalized world, schools like Marina de Chile often lack the necessary resources and support. As a result, the goals of English education remain far from being achieved in practice.
Now I will explain the research evidence. In Chile, the challenges of implementing effective English language education in public schools have been widely discussed. A study by Carbon Bruna and De la Barra Van Treck 2024 explored how English teachers in vulnerable Chilean schools face multiple barriers to adopting interactive methodologies like cooperative learning. Despite recognizing the pedagogical value of approaches like project-based learning, teachers often fall back on traditional grammar translation methods due to institutional constraints and lack of training. These practices fail to promote students' communicative competence and worsen engagement, particularly in under-resourced contexts like Colegio Marina de Chile. In addition, language education policy in Chile shows a deep imbalance. While indigenous language revitalization programs such as PEIV, Programa de Educación Intercultural Bilingüe, exist, they often receive limited institutional support, are poorly funded, and lack curricular integration. As Moya Santiago and Quiroga Curín 2022 argue, this reflects a broader issue. The Chilean state prioritizes English due to globalization and neoliberal imperatives, while neglecting its own linguistic diversity. English becomes a prestige language associated with global economic success, whereas native languages like Mapudungun are marginalized despite their cultural and historical importance. This aligns with critics from Soami 2006 and Rowe 2012, who highlights how language policies, through appearing neutral, often reproduce social inequalities. As Block 2010 points out, globalization has commodified English, turning it into a symbolic a set that reinforces socioeconomic divisions. In public schools like Colegio Marina de Chile, this means students are required to learn English for upward mobility but without the pedagogical or systemic conditions that will allow them to succeed.
As a conclusion, we as a group consider that mastery of English opens the door of countless opportunities in education, business, technology, entertainment, and travel. Let's continue to use English, strive for fluency, and open up new possibilities in our personal and professional lives. For recommendations, as a group, we consider that curricular reform and local adaptations should be integrated in changes. We think that the Ministry of Education should allow more flexibility in how the national English curriculum is implemented. We also think that local adaptations should include project-based learning, which also should include real-life communication tasks, and finally, opportunities to integrate students' interest and community context. In the case of teacher training and professional development, we consider that teachers must be provided with ongoing practical training in communicative language teaching. We also think that different instructions and classroom management should be included. In the case of the SLEP and Aliensur, should prioritize the investment in teacher development programs that go beyond content delivery and emphasize pedagogy. And finally, in the case of extended learner opportunities, even without the JEC, schools could create after school English workshops, virtual exchanges, or conversational clubs with foreign students. These activities can help build students' confidence and give them more exposure to English in authentic settings.
In order to improve English learning in Colegio Marina de Chile, there are multi-level strategies needed. For example, use of technology for student engagement. CT and AI tools should not only be used for teacher support but also integrated into students' activities. For example, using ChatGPT or language apps for conversation practice, vocabulary games, and interactive storytelling can make English more engaging and accessible. Inclusive language policy planning. Policymakers must involve teachers and school leaders in the development and evaluation of language policy. This participatory approach ensures that policies are grounded in classroom realities and not merely driven by abstract global goals. Active methodology. English classes should shift from teacher centered approaches to active methodologies that position students as protagonists of their learning. Strategies like task based learning, flipped classroom, cooperative projects, role playing, and problem solving activities encourage critical thinking and meaningful communication. The goal is to foster student autonomy, motivation, and deeper language acquisition through hands on, contextualized learning experiences. Parental and community involvement. Finally, families and communities need to be educated about the value of English, not only as a symbol of globalization but as practical tool for life. Awareness campaigns and school-led workshops can help create a more supportive environment for students. Artificial intelligence acknowledgement. We acknowledge the use of Gemini to check grammar, ChatPDF to summarize and find key information, and Canva to create our video presentation. While we acknowledge the use of AI, we maintain that we are the sole authors of this academic report and take full responsibility for the content, as outlined in the COPE, Committee on Publication Ethics.
Here are the references that we used in our academic report. And with that being said, we conclude our presentation about our academic report, Language Learning Challenges in Chilean Public Education. Thank you for watching and see you soon.